The Two-Star Hotel by Yusuf Azhar, read by Chris Fletcher. In 2002, I desperately needed a job because my wife and I just had our first baby, and I couldn't afford to pay rent or bills. It was one of the most stressful and depressing periods of my life. Thankfully, someone helped me. The chain of events leading to my dire situation started in 2001. My wife and I decided that I should leave my tech job at an online bookstore in Silicon Valley so we could study Arabic in Damascus, Syria. But while in Damascus, we learned that my wife was pregnant with our first baby. So we decided to cut the trip short so she could deliver the baby near her family in the San Francisco Bay Area. When we got back, however, I didn't slide back into another tech job as I expected. It was the summer of 2002 at this point, and 9/11 had occurred less than a year prior. The economy was a mess, and Silicon Valley seemed like a ghost town compared to what it was before. No one wanted to hire a bearded brown Muslim guy who had just spent a year in the Middle East. So with a new baby and no way to pay rent or bills, we decided to load the car and drive south to live with my parents in Orange County. Although that kept us from being homeless, I still couldn't find a tech job in Southern California. The stress of being a clueless new parent, being unemployed, and not having our own home depressed me. And the deafening silence from potential employers snuffed the life out of any hope I would ever be able to support my family. Thankfully, my brother connected me to a guy who worked as a hotel clerk at a 2-star hotel near Disneyland. The hotel owner, an energetic young Indian man, interviewed me and hired me for the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift. And although the job paid minimum wage, I think $7.15 an hour in those days, it was better than $0 an hour and revived my spirits. The owner told me to come back during the day for training. Once they trained me, I could start my regular overnight shift. But when I arrived for training, something seemed off. There was a Hindu priest in the back office area behind the front desk. He was chanting loudly and lighting incense. I asked the owner what was going on, and he mumbled incoherently. I decided against grilling my new employer on my first day of the job. One of the other front desk clerks greeted me and trained me on various duties necessary for the smooth operation of a small hotel. Here's how to check guests in and out of rooms, and here's how to take payments, and here's when to lock the lobby doors during the overnight shift. After that, we got chatting. The trainer seemed friendly, so I decided to ask him why the Hindu priest was there. He explained that it had to do with the previous front desk clerk I was replacing for the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift. Unfortunately, he died on the job. This got my attention. "How did he die?" I asked. "Well, actually, he was murdered. In fact, he was murdered in the back office." He gestured to the office behind the wall next to us. "How? Why? What happened?" I asked, eager to learn about my predecessor at the hotel. My trainer continued to explain. One night during the overnight shift, while the murder victim was working, a previous employee of the hotel showed up around 2 a.m. They knew each other and hung out in the hotel lobby at first. Eventually, the murder victim must have felt afraid because he had locked himself in the bathroom in the back of the office. But the bathroom door was flimsy and the murderer broke through it. He must have then pulled the victim into the middle of the office, because that's where he beat him to death. He beat him so severely there was blood all over the office, including the walls and ceiling. The murderer eventually grabbed a computer monitor, the old heavy CRT kind, and smashed the victim's head in with it. And that brought my trainer to the reason for the Hindu priest. The hotel owners brought the priest in to counter the evil of what occurred there recently. As I drove back to my parents' house after learning why there was a job opening at this hotel, I debated what to do. Do I give in to fear and harm and quit? Or do I give in to depression for income and stay? I decided the right thing to do for my family's sake was to quit my job to protect my life. I would try to find another job. So, After entering my father's house and greeting everyone, I sat with my wife and parents at the dining table and narrated the entire horrific story to them. I then shared that I would be quitting my front desk clerk job at the hotel to protect myself for the sake of my family. But my dad immediately replied saying that I could not quit and had to keep the job. Although stunned and speechless, I didn't argue. In truth, what choice did I have? I was the one mooching off of him. And that turned out to be the best decision because everything worked out. No one ever came to the hotel after midnight and murdered me. The most that happened was that some guests tried to verbally bully me once in a while to get something they wanted, like a free room. Here's what did happen though. I eventually got a job that paid enough for us to move into our own place. I got my life in order because a man I never met was murdered in a 2-star hotel near the happiest place on earth. I pray he rests in peace.